Catherine's unease deepened as the eerie sound of her baby cousin's cries echoed through the silent house. The glow from her phone cast distorted shadows across the walls as she hurried to his room. However, upon reaching the crib, a shiver ran down her spine. It was empty. Panic set in as she frantically searched the room, her eyes scanning every corner for a trace of the missing child. A sense of dread tightened its grip on her as she moved towards the closed bedroom door, where her baby cousin stood, fixated on something unseen by human eyes. As she approached, Catherine noticed an unsettling stillness in the air. The room felt colder, and an unexplainable heaviness pressed upon her chest. The baby's innocent gaze was fixed on the door, his eyes wide with an unsettling mixture of curiosity and fear. A sudden, ominous knock reverberated through the silent house, causing Catherine's heart to skip a beat. It was a slow, deliberate sound, sending shivers down her spine. Remembering her aunt and uncle's strict instructions, she hesitated, torn between the urge to open the door and the unsettling feeling that something was terribly wrong. The knocking persisted, each rap echoing like a sinister whisper. Ignoring the warning bells in her mind, Catherine cautiously approached the door. As she reached for the doorknob, the baby cousin's eyes followed her every move, his tiny fingers pointing at the door as if urging caution. Summoning her courage, Catherine cracked the door open just slightly. A rush of cold air swept into the room, carrying with it an inexplicable chill. The corridor outside was cloaked in darkness, and the source of the knocking remained obscured. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice quivering. The only response was an unsettling silence that seemed to stretch into eternity. The baby cousin's gaze remained fixed on the doorway, his silent warning amplifying Catherine's growing sense of dread. Against her better judgment, she opened the door wider, revealing the dimly lit hallway. The knocking continued, now more insistent, as if imploring her to step into the shadows. The air felt charged with an otherworldly energy, and a fleeting image of a figure standing just beyond the darkness flickered in Catherine's peripheral vision. Compelled by an unseen force, she stepped into the corridor, her bare feet cold against the aged floorboards. The knocking guided her like a spectral beacon, leading her deeper into the house. The baby cousin, still in her arms, remained fixated on the invisible presence. As she approached the source of the knocking, the air grew thicker, and a haunting melody played in the background, a melancholic tune that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the house. The corridors twisted and turned, leading Catherine into a labyrinth of unsettling shadows and disquieting whispers. The knocking persisted, now echoing from multiple directions, disorienting her senses. She felt a surreal connection to the unseen entity, as if the house itself were alive with a malevolent consciousness. The baby cousin's eyes glowed with an ethereal light, mirroring the inexplicable energy that enveloped them. Suddenly, the labyrinth led Catherine to a long-forgotten room. Its door stood slightly ajar, and a soft, eerie glow spilled into the corridor. The knocking ceased, replaced by an unsettling silence that hung in the air like a heavy shroud. Summoning her courage, Catherine pushed the door open, revealing a room frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture, tattered curtains, and faded photographs adorned the space. In the center, an antique mirror stood, reflecting a distorted version of the room's decaying beauty. As Catherine stepped into the room, the atmosphere grew more oppressive. The mirror seemed to hold secrets of the past, reflecting ghostly apparitions and distorted images that danced at the edge of her vision. The baby cousin squirmed in her arms, his eyes fixated on the mirror's surface. A voice, distant and haunting, whispered through the room, recounting tales of tragedy and sorrow. Catherine felt a connection to the stories embedded in the walls, as if the house itself were trying to communicate its unsettling history. The mirror's reflection shifted, revealing glimpses of faces long forgotten, and scenes of a family torn apart by mysterious circumstances. Catherine, now a reluctant witness to the spectral drama, realized that the knocking was an echo of the past, a desperate attempt to draw attention to the unresolved mysteries within the house. In a sudden surge of understanding, Catherine held the baby cousin close, feeling the weight of the house's history pressing upon her. With a whispered apology to the unseen entities, she retraced her steps, leaving the forgotten room behind. As she emerged back into the corridor, the knocking resumed, guiding her towards the front door. The house seemed to exhale a sigh of relief as she stepped outside, the baby cousin still in her arms. The night air, once cold and foreboding, now felt strangely comforting. The knocking faded into the distance, leaving behind an echoing silence. Catherine stood on the porch, gazing at the darkened landscape. The baby cousin, now calm, looked up at her with an innocence untouched by the supernatural encounter. Distant footsteps approached, her aunt and uncle returning earlier than expected. They found Catherine standing on the porch, the weight of the night etched on her face. As they entered the house, the air seemed lighter, as if the unresolved spirits had finally found peace. The baby cousin, oblivious to the paranormal journey, drifted into a peaceful sleep. Catherine, forever changed by the harrowing night, watched the sun rise on a new day. The house, once a vessel of unresolved mysteries, now stood in quiet repose, its secrets laid bare in the moonlit corridors and haunted reflections of the past. Gabriel's vacation led him to the lighthouse he had long yearned to visit, a beacon near his hometown with a reputation veiled in eerie tales. Despite the enchanting allure of its ocean views and the gleaming stars above, the lighthouse carried a shadowy mystique. Upon reaching the lighthouse, Gabriel let himself be captivated by the beauty of the ocean stretching beyond the horizon, adorned by the shimmering stars. The serenity of the scene stirred his heart, creating a flutter of tranquility within him. As he immersed himself in the awe-inspiring vista, a sound disrupted the peaceful ambiance. Footsteps echoed on the stairs leading upward, causing a slight unease in Gabriel. The haunting stories he had heard about the lighthouse's mysteries flickered in his mind, casting an eerie tinge on the otherwise breathtaking setting. He gulped, nervously, waiting to see who or what was approaching. To his relief, an old lady emerged through the door, seemingly checking on his well-being. Politeness took over as she greeted him, introducing herself as Norma, the caretaker of the lighthouse. Norma went on to share tales about the lighthouse's rich history, recounting anecdotes of famous visitors throughout the years. Gabriel couldn't resist probing about the spooky tales associated with the place, but Norma dismissed them as mere products of people's imaginations. For another hour, Gabriel immersed himself in the breathtaking scene before deciding to head back. Attempting to bid Norma farewell, he searched the premises but couldn't find her. Assuming she had already gone home, he left for the inn where he had checked in. At the inn, the owner, extending an invitation, welcomed Gabriel for a drink. Their conversation revolved around the lighthouse and its intriguing stories until Gabriel mentioned the old lady, Norma, he had encountered there. The owner froze, a disbelief etched on his face. Confused by the owner's reaction, Gabriel inquired if there was any problem. Then came the startling revelation. There was no longer a caretaker for the lighthouse. It had been a decade since the last caretaker, Norma, met with an accident and passed away. The unsettling realization sank in, leaving Gabriel questioning the nature of his encounter with the supposed caretaker. As the truth settled in, Gabriel felt a chill crawl up his spine. The lighthouse, once a haven of serenity, now harbored an unsettling secret. The echoes of Norma's spectral presence lingered in his memory, casting a haunting pall over the enchanting views he had so recently admired. A sleepless night awaited Gabriel as he grappled with the revelation. The stories about the lighthouse that once seemed fanciful now took on a sinister undertone. Determined to unravel the mystery, he decided to revisit the lighthouse in the hope of finding answers. Upon returning, the once inviting stairs seemed to creak with ghostly whispers. Gabriel ascended with trepidation, guided by an inexplicable compulsion to explore the tower where he had met Norma. The air grew heavy, and a foreboding aura enveloped him as he reached the top. In the dimly lit room, Gabriel felt a presence, a spectral energy that transcended the boundaries of the living. The flickering candles illuminated the space as a ghostly figure materialized before him. It was Norma, her eyes reflecting the sorrow of a tragic past. Fear and curiosity warred within Gabriel as he listened to Norma's whispered tale. She recounted the night of her fatal accident, the lingering guilt of leaving her loved ones without a proper farewell. Trapped in the lighthouse she had cared for in life, Norma's spirit sought solace and closure. Overwhelmed with empathy, Gabriel felt a profound connection to Norma's plight. Together, they embarked on a journey to bridge the gap between the living and the departed. Consulting spiritual guides and delving into local folklore, they sought the rituals that could bring peace to Norma's tormented soul. As they delved into the layers of Norma's story, a deeper truth emerged. Her family, unaware of her lingering spirit, had never received closure after her tragic demise. The unresolved questions surrounding her death haunted them, perpetuating the restless energy within the lighthouse. With the support of Norma's family, Gabriel and Norma communicated messages of love and forgiveness, gradually unraveling the spectral threads that bound the old caretaker to the lighthouse. The once haunted tower began to lose its eerie atmosphere, and the echoes of Norma's whispers faded away. As the last vestiges of Norma's spirit dissipated, Gabriel felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The lighthouse, once steeped in unsettling tales, transformed into a symbol of redemption and the transcendental power of empathy. The haunting mysteries that had shrouded the serene views now yielded to a newfound peace. Leaving the town, Gabriel carried with him not only the memories of a vacation-turned supernatural odyssey, but also the profound understanding that compassion and connection could transcend the boundaries between life and death. The lighthouse, now free from the spectral presence of Norma, stood as a beacon of redemption in the embrace of the endless ocean and starry skies.